And good evening, everybody. Welcome to our newest episode of Holotheatre. As always, I am Dan Tartaglione, better known as D Tartag One. So we got quite a show tonight. I got a lot of information for you guys regarding a lot of stuff that's been going on in the Star Wars CCG world. I also have some information regarding the Outrider Cup, so stay tuned to that. Gonna have like a pre-recorded interview between myself, Joe Olson, and Bastian Winklehouse for the Outrider Cup. So I had that interview. It's about 47 minutes long, 48 minutes long. It's a really good interview. Like Bastian and Joe had a lot of information regarding the Outrider Cup. So make sure you are ready for that. Also, again, like I said, there's a lot going on in the Star Wars CCG world. And then make sure you stay tuned to the Twitch channel because right after this show, Kendall Holman and Anthony Howard are going to be premiering their first episode of 0 and 2 with Korn and Batmouse. So let's go ahead and watch. Let's go ahead and get to the interview between Joe and Bastian and myself. And then, like I said, I'll be back right after that interview to wrap up the rest of the show. I got the current two-time world champ, Mr. Joe Olson, joining us, and the man himself, Mr. Three world champs, Bastian Winklehouse. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, Dan. How about you?
Yep.
I can't complain. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Outrider Cup. I led a little bit into this earlier, but so for those who don't know, can you guys really quickly just explain what the Outrider Cup is? Just give it like a little bit of background behind it and everything.
Sure. You want to do it, Joe, or should I?
Sure. So background is a couple years ago, 2 years ago, some folks came up with the idea of pitting the top U.S. players versus the top European players. There is a tournament in golf called the Ryder Cup, where the U.S. plays against, I think, the U.K. players, and they play a golf tournament called the Ryder Cup. And someone got the idea to make the Outrider Cup. And so we had the initial one 2 years ago, and it's got some fun quirks to the format, so that we don't just see the same decks over and over. It's limited. There are 6 people on each side, so 6 Americans and 6 Europeans, and they face off against each other. Last year it was a match play thing. This year's a little bit different. We'll get into that in a bit. They each of the 6 players have to have 6 different decks, so different starting cards. So that way we don't, at the time, 2 years ago in 2019, Throne Room and ROPS were sort of the main thing coming out of Worlds 2019. And so that we didn't see multiple things of the same matchup over and over. It was restricted to just one copy of each deck. And so then essentially it's a tournament of some of the best players in the world playing against each other. It's all going to be streamed, and we're going to see a lot of different matchups, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the Ryder Cup is like from golf is like the most well known. And I think there's more. I know of the Mosconi Cup, which is like a pool tournament between the US and the European players, and there's probably other sports that do it too. And so this year we had a short discussion, like, is it Europe against the US or US against the world? Because in our game, there's so much more good people in the US, and but we stuck to Europe because I think the idea is that at least people that know each other personally from the tournaments or get to meet each other here in the European tournaments. So that's what we do. And we did a couple of changes. I think 2 years ago was the first time. And now this time we did a few changes to the setup, how the one is played. But the core thing is top 6 players from the US, top 6 players from Europe, and then make unique decks to have more variety.
Okay. So how are the 6 players chosen? I know obviously you guys are the captains, being that right now I'd say you're probably the 2 most decorated players in the world. But so how do you guys go ahead and pick the rest of your team?
So the idea was that Player of the Year points should count for something. That might even be one of the ideas that led to the Outrider Cup, because so far we're counting all these cards for all these years, and then there's a Player of the Year at the end, but nothing else happened. And I think one of the ideas was to make these player points count for something. So the idea is that the top player from the US and from Europe with the most Player of the Year points for the last 2 years, because it's not done every year, that's the captain. And the next 4 players with the 4 most, second most, and third most, fourth most, fifth most points, they go on the team, and then the captain has 1 more pick to round out the squad. So that's the normal mode. And now, because there were literally like no tournaments in Europe for the last 2 years, we made it that we have that I have 2 captain's picks this year.
That makes sense. Yeah, like I feel like going into this, you guys were a little bit more handicapped than say the Americans, because at least over here we had nationals, and I mean we had worlds in DC just recently, and I want to say only Chris Mensel was able to come over, so
Right.
I think he by default got like half a Player of the Year point just for showing up.
I think he had to. At first, I thought he really had a business meeting when he set up the timing around Worlds, but I think he was just faking it to get the visa. I'm not sure, but even if he did fake, well, I don't know. So if the NSA is watching this, I don't know.
I was going to say you're calling out a fellow countryman, right? Like. But okay,
it was legit.
I don't know.
It was legit. It was
Probably
legit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, COVID has severely restricted the last couple of years of Star Wars stuff, and we did get to hold a few events here in person, but obviously none of the Europeans could travel for that with the restrictions on flights and travel between countries right now. But and in Europe didn't have a lot of events. So that was one very minor tweak we changed this year was Bastian. You know, when we were getting down to his 4th and 5th people on his team, they had like 3 Player of the Year points. And at that point it was like, okay, should we have someone be on the team who just happened to maybe place in one random event 2 years ago, so they're automatically on the team? And it made a little more sense at that point to say, let's go ahead and give him an extra captain's pick and make it a little more competitive and a little more fun.
Okay, so again, 2 years ago when you guys faced off, it was like you said, it was match play. You guys played 2 matches, both sides, I believe, or
yeah.
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
So
we did
last
match
year,
play. All right.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, there was 2 other major changes. One was that it was split into 2 rounds. So we did a first round where a US player did a match play against a European player. And that was in the meta that was right after Worlds 2019. And then a big round of errata came out, including making Like My Father Before Me not work in Throne Room, making ROPS totally nerfed. A whole bunch of errata came out. And then we had a second round of another 6 games where you got a different opponent. And at the time, the captains were assigning who was going to play whom. And so in the first round, I assigned US players to play against various European ones. And then in the second round, Bastian assigned players to play. And this year we decided to simplify it. It's not going to be split into 2 rounds. It's just going to be 1 round of every 12 total games. Every player is going to play 2 games, and it won't be match play. It will be, and we're not doing the assigning thing. We are just randomizing opponents. Because before it was like, okay, well, if I put this opponent on Kieran, and Kieran is going to be really good at Diplo, then you need to play a deck that's good against Diplo, but he knows that, so he'll switch. And we had that whole wine in front of me thing with that everyone's kind of sick of with match play. So we're going to be randomizing opponents. And Bastian, you want to talk about the deck, how we're doing that part of it?
Well,
yeah, we're gonna randomize the opponents after we set the deck list.
Okay. May I so who's going to have the honor of doing the randomization? Because I know, come January 5th, when I believe we're going to do like a Holotheatre, we're going to have like the set stuff and everything.
I would say we talk about that in a moment after we do the teams.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the last time it was like the second round was after the errata, and it was like, okay, so I think people were looking forward to the deck list to see like what do these players come up with for decks, but then we were restricted by the match play part, right? So it was like, I don't know, Tom Damon, for example, was on our team, and he was really, really good with Diplo. But he couldn't play Diplo because we knew his opponent would be prepared for Diplo. So he would play a deck that he was not that good with, or you tech your decks a little bit and say, okay, he's probably going to play main, so I'm going to pick some anti-mains card that I normally wouldn't pick. So we thought that this year we're going to do the deck list in the purest form, so that you prepare the deck list before knowing what you're up against. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to wait for the release of set 17, and then we're sending in 12 deck lists. Everybody sets in one different light and dark side deck. And then after the deck lists are fixed, then we're going to randomize the opponents.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was one cool thing I thought last time was we played that second round in early January. All the deck lists were posted, and then the Indoor Grand Prix was a few weeks later. Everyone got to see what are the top players think is pretty good in this new meta after these errata. And the same thing's going to happen here, where we've got V17 coming out somewhere around Christmas time. And then our deck lists are due early January. So we're going to see a lot of the new V17 stuff. We're going to get to see, what does Bastian think about it? What does Justin Desai think? What does Hayes Hunter? What kind of builds are people putting out there and playing in the Outrider Cup in those first couple weeks of January? And the list will be posted right before the NPC. And then we'll be rolling into the NPC knowing like, hey, here's some builds to watch out for, to have in mind. So that's kind of a cool aspect of it. But like Bastian said, we're not going to see hey, I think Bastian is going to be playing Agents in the Court, Aliens, so I'm going to pack my anti-gift tech and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know which of the 6 Europeans I'm facing. I'm submitting all my deck lists, and then we're pairing randomly, and we'll see who's playing who.
So you're not going to be playing both sides, correct? You're just going to be playing like, or will you?
No, we're going to play. Everybody is playing both
not against
sides.
the same opponent. So what we're going to do, everyone will submit 2 lists, and we'll do, here's all the light side US. Let's randomly match them against a European dark side player. And then here's all the light side, all the US dark side, and let's randomly match them against the European. And we're going to tweak if they get the same opponent, we'll flip it so that they essentially get a different opponent. So everyone's going to be facing 2 different people, 2 different decks, and we'll have 12 total games.
See, now that sounds fun to me. Like, I like the fact that it's just random. It's like you said, it's not teching for a specific opponent. It's literally coming down to who's got the skill.
Yeah, and matchups will obviously play a factor in it. You get a bad luck of, my Tig ran into your hunt down sort of thing, and that happens. But in general, hopefully that will sort of even out over the course of 12 games, and we'll see a lot of just really good play.
So how is the winner going to be determined? So obviously, like, say, Joe, you beat Bastian. Is differential going to come into play, or is it just straight like victory points, strength of schedule? Like, how is that going to be determined?
It's going to be just the win. So the thing is, last time we had the match play, and then that also, apart from the deck building, it also means that, I know I'm going to lose this game, but I have to play till the end to maybe cut the differential from -20 down to -15, so that I got a little bit of a chance in the second game. And then if you start the second game and you realize, all right, I'm not going to win this one by 15, and you concede after 3 turns or something. I mean, probably we wouldn't do that. We play a little bit longer, but it would be hard to come back. So this time we're saying no, differential is not going to count. So it's just going to be 12 games, and we're going to count the wins. And I think we didn't really spell it out exactly, but it's going to be the same as the last time. If we end up with a split, if we end up with a 6-6 tie, then each captain is going to name one player. Could be the captain, could be someone else, and then we're going to to I don't know. We didn't talk about that. Probably that one will be match play then.
I think so.
Yeah, that should be match play.
The aspect I really particularly like about this format is the whole. The thing I like about the Outrider Cup, I just enjoy Star Wars cards. I like playing it. I like watching it. I like watching it at a high level. And I'm hoping to do some commentary of some of the games when I'm not playing. And when you have like, oh, okay, game 1 of match play was, not competitive. You won by 20. And then game 2, you get that 3-turn scoop. And you're like, oh, man, this would have been a close match. Someone might have won it by, under 10 differential. And it's like, if they played it out, this guy wins by 5, but he's like, well, I needed to win by 20. So he just scooped. And it's like, I wanted to see that game. And it's going to make all 12 games important.
Yes.
As opposed to potentially, multiple games just not mattering because they're game 2 of the match. And and so then I think if we go to a 6-6 tie, the captains will choose a champion and they'll go into match play.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, there's a reason you guys are the captains for each side, so give you guys some like leeway or some discretion regarding your teams. So I think we've talked enough about the formats. I think we talked enough about the decks and everything. So why don't we just get down to the nitty-gritty and find out who exactly is on your team. Joe, I think we're going to start with you, being that Team USA are the reigning champs and everything. So right. I got a graphic ready. Are you ready to show off your team members?
Yeah. Do you want to share your screen here in Zoom so I can see the graphic too? Or is it?
It's exactly.
Is it the one you pasted?
It's exactly.
Okay. Are you showing the entire thing at once or just part at a time?
Yeah. That's okay. It's easier that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Your Team USA members. Go ahead.
All right. So we have myself as the captain, and then we have Justin Desai, 2-time world champion. We have MHT, who won Texas Mini Worlds last year and just won the OCS playoffs. Mm-hmm. We have Hayes Hunter, who won the Indoor Grand Prix and the NPC last year in 2020. We have Paul Myers, who had a very strong 2020. He got second in the OCS and top 4 at Worlds. And then my captain's pick was JNAP. He well, first of all, if I were picking anyone who just deserves an honor like this, he's been phenomenal at all his volunteering, everything he's been doing, those new Dex boxes, all the marketing stuff. He's an amazing person in our community. So if I were picking anyone that was like, it doesn't matter their play skill, just deserves to be on the team, it'd be him. But beyond that, he totally earned it on its merits. If you look at his last 3 tournaments he played in, his last 3 majors, Worlds 2020, he got top 8. NPC this year, he got second. And Worlds this year, he got top 4. So made the cut both the last 2 years. So Worlds, a top 8, a top 4, and then second at the NPC. He's just playing phenomenally, and super excited to have him on the team.
It feels like last year you guys had Chris Kelly, an advocate. Now you have Jared Napolitano. Are you worried about the advocate curse?
No. Chris Kelly was a solid member 2 years ago, and I expect the same at JNAP. I think I think the advocates being bad meme from 2010 was somewhat accurate then. But I think now there are very, very high level players in advocate positions, and JNAP's a great example of that.
So now I know Jared is currently playing in the Jawa Cup. Is he going to have to step out of that?
Yeah. I actually, when I asked him if he wanted to be the captain's pick on Team USA, and he said yes, I said great, because now that means I'm counting this as the third tournament in a row I've kicked you out of. After beating him in the NPC and beating him at Worlds, I was like, now I've knocked you out of the Jawa Cup. That's 3 in a row.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh my God! Please tell me you did not say that to him.
I did say that. I did.
Oh
I was.
God!
I couldn't resist the poking a little fun at him there. I get I got to give him the honor of being on the team because he earned it, but then put him in his place a little bit.
Wow! Oh God! And I thought I was mean to advocates. Holy crap! Like I know, like I push Chris Kelly's buttons all the time, but I have never said anything just
That's because you haven't knocked anyone out of a tournament yet, Dan.
I've done. Whoa. I have knocked Chris Goglin out. He won the Game PC. Right. What was it in 2019? I knocked him out in 2020. So, nice. No, honestly, okay. The only reason I haven't knocked anybody serious out of a tournament yet is because I don't care about playing. I'd rather do commentary and do all this fun stuff. So, get your sources correct there, Mr. Joe Olsen.
Well, anyway, I think I'm. Team USA is it's hard to picture a much better group of players, all very skilled. All have their strengths and weaknesses, but I think we're going to come up with some really cool decks and really cool lineups. I'm excited to be working with all of them to prep for this event.
Okay. Bastian, are you ready to show off your team now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Team Europe. Go ahead and give us your team members.
Yeah. We're probably the underdogs here. Our team does not have that many wins that Joe was rattling off just now, but I think we got a fine team and there's no need to put anyone into his place or something like this. I think we got 2 people that got really a bunch of Player of the Year points, and that's Silverglen and Quirin Catwall. So I think Quirin, he lost to Joe in the finals, wasn't it? Or was it the semis? No, it was the finals.
He lost to the
last year at World.
He beat came back and beat Paul Myers in the semis.
Right. With that, yeah, he lost the first one by a lot of force, and then just came back. And I think in 2019, when there was Worlds in Europe, there was a play-in game between Quirin and Joe. I think I didn't see it, but from what I heard, he was one mistake away from keeping Joe out of the top 8, something like
and he beat me.
Cat Bane,
he didn't use the Cad Bane cancel immunity text. He beat me in the Swiss portion of 2019, and then just made a mistake in the playing game, and then got second at Worlds last year. So
he's a really capable guy. He didn't play a lot of Open lately, but we're gonna get him into shape, I'm pretty sure. He played a lot, just I think more Java or something, but we're working on it. And then we got Silverglen, who just took second place in the OCS for the second time. So I think he just started playing like a few years ago, but really had impressive showings from the start. Made a top 8 at his first Europeans, then these results. So he's really very cool, and he's a cool guy on top to play and to talk with. So we are like the 3 guys with the most Player of the Year points. And then we, like Joe said, because we didn't have a lot of events, like 4th place, and he would have made the team based on Player of the Year points, would have been Fernando from Spain, who made top 8 last year at Worlds, which I think was his first coming out tournament, and then we didn't really see him afterwards because he didn't play. And so I talked to him, and we decided that he's not gonna play because he's not really playing a lot recently and not really interested in the current meta. So I basically had, I don't know if Dylan is a captain's pick or if he just got in because he's the next highest Player of the Year points, but I basically got 3 more guys. And so the one is Dylan, Timo Dusel, who, he's very active in the community the last years. And I don't know if he's in the Java Cup, but he could play one match he could beat the Java Cup, the GMPC, this one, no
Yeah.
problem. He's playing all of these games on one day.
I mean, the good thing
I think he's not in the Java
No.
Cup because I think he was in the OCS top
yes,
16.
yeah, he was in the top
Oh
16.
yeah, right. Yeah,
I was
right,
gonna say,
right,
as
right,
long
right.
as he doesn't have to play Joker King, he's fine.
No, I mean he's also relatively new to the scene, but he had some good results. He's very, very active, and we're talking we're talking before this cup a bunch because he's in my time zone, and so it's easier to do a few test games or something. So he's very active, he's learning, and he's going to be a good part of the team. And then the two captains picked, the one was Cryptophis, Simovic. He didn't play a lot recently too, I think. At least also I mostly saw him play Java, but he's a top-notch player. I think he won Europeans at least once. Basically, when I came back, I had to beat him twice to my European. Like once I beat him by one card in the match, and then I beat him by lost pile count in the match or something. Very ridiculously close results. So he's definitely a proven guy. He also he just needs to maybe get a little bit of into shape because he didn't play that much. But I'm not sure. Isn't he on your team, Joe? So you probably know more than I how much he's playing or how much he's up to date on the meta.
He posted in the Team 5 chat. He's like, well, I'm going to be on Team Europe, so try to keep any Outrider Cup talk out of this channel.
Right,
like, all right, cool.
right. And then for the sixth part, we went like for the international flair in our team, and we got 3 Germans, but everybody else we wanted to have like all the community in here. And also I talked to Fernando, and so we decided to add Miguel, who's Tarkin 84 on GAMP. Also, he's very active on GAMP the last 1 or 2 years. And I think we didn't meet him yet. He's yet to come to his first Europeans, but we're very much looking forward to see him and Fernando next year at Europeans. When hopefully we're gonna have another tournament. And he made top 8 in the retro tournament, so he showed himself there to be a good player. Yeah. And also, I definitely wanted on the team people that are active on GAM. And on Slack so that we can talk through and do some test matches. And so, for example, Emil, I think he's not playing at the moment, but also 2 years ago he was like, he was on the team, and obviously Emil is very, very good, but it's just that he didn't really play a lot on GAMP and he wasn't really active much on Slack. So this time I think we have a good group. Everybody is accustomed to playing on GAMP, doing it a lot of times, and we're the underdogs, but I think we're gonna have a fighting chance.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think you guys are like it's an underdog just because you're on the team, Bastian.
Yeah, but I'm only one of 6 players.
But I mean, one of you is like equal to 2 of Joe Olsen.
If you say so.
So yeah, Team Europe seems like it's a pretty solid team. I will say, like, so from last year, I know you're returning, Justin Brandt's returning, Justin Desai, Joe. Was Hayes on the team as well from 2 years ago?
He was not.
He was not. Yeah, you guys got, like, it seems like you guys got at least 2 people returning, so that's good. I mean,
I think we both have exactly 2, because I had last time Greg, Mishki.
That's right.
Chris Kelly and Werfs were the other 4 besides me and Desai. So it's just the 2 of us.
No,
I think for us it's also Justin is the only returnee. Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. I'm excited for this. Like, I love the Java Cup. Like you said, like, it's the top 6 players from America, top 6 players from Europe playing and at a super high level. So I can, and it's just nice because I get to sit back and just watch.
Yeah, you can't sit back all the time because as we have it on the Outrider Cup, on the rules thread, it says that Jared is going to do the pairing and the announcement, but he's now the captain's pick and he has to play. So we need someone to do the announcement, and maybe you could do it. Like, I mean, we can just as well do it on Holotheatre. I think Joe said that we want to do it on the 5th of January, which is like the first Wednesday. Timing is going to be a little bit tight because we then have the 2-week window ending right before the MPC, so there's not that much wiggle room to change the date around.
Yeah.
And maybe it interferes also with the reveal of the NPC bracket, but it would be great if we could do it on the 5th, on that Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I think I have you guys penciled in for that. Like, it seems like I'm gonna be having a nice set of like a couple weeks
there'll
on
be a lot of
Holotheaters and everything.
anticipation for that day to see, because so one thing we're doing, since the
Right,
deck lists are due at the beginning of January, the deck lists will be already submitted when we do the pairings, and so we are going to reveal not only who is playing whom, but the deck types they are playing. So it'll be like Justin Desai Diplo versus Silver Glen Hunt Down or whatever. But basically we're going to have whoever the deck list gets sent to pull out sort of the archetype, and so we'll basically get to see, all right, cool, here's who's playing here's who they're playing against, here's what the matchup will be, and so we'll get a lot of fun anticipation for that. And then at the on that same day, we'll get our NPC brackets, and we'll see who's playing who's in which quadrant and everything. And so there will be a lot of reveals that day and a lot of anticipation, I think.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. If you guys want me to set up the stuff, I'm gonna make it really fun, and I'll have a surprise for you guys to send it out to you. So I'll make it really cool and a surprise for you guys for just being part of the experience.
Fun.
So we're looking forward to that, and I think it's going to be good to like talking points for the people, the spectators, and just when you see the bracket, it's not only these two players, but you're also going to say, okay, that's the matchup, that's going to be interesting, or this might be good, but maybe he's playing that card, or maybe he's not, or something. I think it's good for the spectators, and it's also good for the team, because Joe had this great idea to do this. The first time we were really active was in the team in the deck building stage. But then once the play started, it was like, yeah, good luck, and too bad you lost, or great that you won. But there wasn't just too much talking.
There was no interaction because you didn't know what decks they were playing. It was just like you sit down and suddenly it's revealed. So before the match, it's just like, all right, good luck, but nothing really to say.
Right, and this time within the team, we can also like prepare and talk things through a bit. I mean, obviously, the people are playing for themselves. But we can talk about things in the team chat before, and obviously, or maybe even do a test game. But then we got to do the test game with our list, and then maybe it turns out the other player on the other side has a card we didn't expect or something. So it's still going to be some surprises when the games actually are played.
Yeah.
But I think it's much more interesting that way, and a very good idea from Joe to do this.
It'll be more fun being on the team, not only first having the deck prep, but then having to getting on a Zoom call with everyone and being like, all right, let's talk through this matchup. What's the game plan, that sort of thing. So
I don't know, like I like this. Like, don't get me wrong, match play is fun and everything, but this just seems like it's more fun, especially from the spectator's point of view. And no offense, isn't that what this is all about? You're not only doing it for yourselves, but you're doing it for the low people who, like me, who aren't able to play in this event. You're trying to make it better for us.
We're doing it for our country this time.
Ooh. Well, yeah, but you might be doing it for your country. Bastian's doing it for his continent.
That's true.
But no, so why don't we go ahead and get into some swing and a miss questions? I got 4 questions for you guys, all about the Outrider Cup. Scott and James Martin, we all came up with some good questions for you guys. Have some back and forth and everything. So, first question for today is going to be: someone in the Outrider Cup will be piloting a deck they have never played in a major.
That's a hit.
Yeah,
I don't know if Miguel
there's
ever
new
played
V17 cards coming
but,
out.
Yeah,
there will be decks never piloted by anyone in a major.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw, I want to say it was Monday, when Chris Calais, Jared, and Scott all revealed some of the Skywalker stuff. I'm excited to see what you guys take on that. I know that you said like you're going to have different starting cards. Would that include like I know like you can start like say Luke or Rey or Anakin? Are you going to count those as like one starting card, or would that be like a different deck? Like if you go towards like one person can play Luke and one person can play Anakin, or is it just like you had the epic event?
On the rule thread, I think we wrote that everything without an objective counts as one deck, but the intent was to, because at that time we didn't know, or I'm on playtesting, but Joe was not. We didn't know about the Skywalker's epic event. The idea is that we're gonna have, well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but I think would allow both communing and the Skywalker's epic event, because I think we're different decks. Just we don't think Qui-Gon communing and Yoda communing, that's not two different decks. And like Rey Skywalker,
we decided to combine
Anakin
communing
Skywalker
is just
would
one
not
deck.
Be two different decks.
I like that.
Agreed.
I like that because now, like, say one of your team members might have like go with Luke Skywalker for the Skywalker trilogy, like Skywalker Saga epic event, and somebody else might just go like, oh, I'm gonna play Yoda communing. Like, or just go something totally different. Like you might have
So one communing allowed, one Skywalker thing allowed. But yeah, we might see different ones from Europe and US. They might one might choose Qui-muning and the other Yoda muning, and one might choose Rey and the other choose Luke or whatever, you know. But yeah, those will count as one deck each.
No, I love that. I love that idea. That's a great idea. I want to see, don't get me wrong, I like seeing the meta decks and everything, but I want to see you guys come up with some like off the wall crazy stuff that we haven't seen in years.
So this swing and a miss question obviously had this sort of funny, like, well, yeah, people will pilot a new deck because a new set's coming out. If you ignore that part and just talk about decks that already existed, I would actually say miss for this. I would, because and that's because of the random formatting. Because if you, like, for example, JNAP is great with Black Sun and Prophet. Yeah. And if we were doing match play where they know they're going against JNAP, they're prepared for that. And so then he might be piloting a new deck. But the cool thing about the random part is you can put someone on their best deck. You can say, hey, why don't you run Black Sun and Prophet? You play them amazingly. We think you'll crush those Europeans. And we can do that. And that's what I really like about it is then you see people playing their best decks and playing them really well. And so I wouldn't expect to see people playing decks they haven't at a major besides the new stuff. I would think you'd want people to be playing the decks they are best with.
Yeah, but I mean, you got a player like Bastian who's like can play almost any deck. So I can see Bastian pulling out something crazy like Rescue the Princess V and piloting it to a win.
Right.
Like, why
At
not?
that point, I would expect them to tailor the decks around some of the strengths of some of the other players to maximize some of those wins and have him sort of you wouldn't have your best player pick the best decks first in that sort of strategy.
No, like you're gonna give Paul Myers something quick. That's all I know. But we'll talk about that more in a second. Let's go on to number.
Yeah, we're not going to reveal our whole strategy, but like Joe was totally right. Like, I can play many different decks, but I'm not gonna. I mean, I will be glad if we win. I don't want to win this in style or something. I can play the boring deck if nobody else wants it. But yeah, especially those people that didn't play a lot lately, they should definitely play something that we're really, really good with. And then I think like Justin and I, we're very flexible, and then we can pick our decks after the others.
Okay, on to question number 2. The Outrider Cup will be more interesting if a few of the decks were alternate formats, such as Classic, Jawa, stuff like that.
I'm gonna say miss, and I can explain why.
Okay.
Because the last time we did these 2 rounds, and it was in the different metas, but it also felt disconnected, and was such a long time, and like people were taking. I think actually it was 3 of us on the last team. Korean was also on the team 2 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
And especially he was taking a vacation around Christmas or something like this, and we couldn't talk about decks in that time with him or something like this. So it felt very disconnected. And I think for it to make sense to have alternate formats too, we need to expand it to multiple rounds. Because if we only have 12 games, I think it's a strength that we're going to see 12 different open decks. And if you take out a few of these open decks and put in Java or retro decks or something, then yeah, you're gonna see those decks, but then you're gonna see the same 2 or 3 open decks that you're gonna see at every tournament. And just by having to choose 6 light and 6 dark decks, by default, you're gonna see some decks that maybe wouldn't be first choice at a major, but are still cool to see. And you would lose these decks and not the top decks, and that would be a shame.
I agree. And I think the interesting part about Jawa and part of the reason why they created it is so that you don't see those same top decks all the time. And the fact that this format forces 6 different decks, if there's clearly, 2 best in the meta, well, you still have 4 more decks you got to build. And so I actually think this is a really interesting format, almost Jawa-esque in the fact that you have those, required very different decks. And I actually think it would be cool as a format for a tournament. Going, hey, let's do a 6-game tournament where you need different decks every game you play. So someone would have to have kind of a broad range that they play, and I think that would be kind of cool.
Okay, let's go on to question number 3. The over/under on of 2.5 games going to time. So instead of swing and a miss,
have we discussed the time constraints? What are
no, we haven't.
No, I think you guys better.
Paul Myers votes 60 minutes each.
I think we're gonna take the same timing as in the OCS.
Yeah,
what is that?
OCS.
Is it 45?
It's 45.
Yeah, but I think they were talking about maybe reducing it, or at least I know Charlie was advocating for reducing it.
Charlie's not on the team.
Yeah, sure. But I just mean there's always some discussion on the time of like OCS. I know it was tweaked either last year or the year before. It was knocked down like 5 minutes. I think it was 50 and then it became 45. And should we go with what the OCS has been, what it will be?
I think.
Well, if you know what it will be, then we can discuss it. But I think.
Well, I don't, but I think they might know by
right?
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I think
so
2 years
45
ago
minutes.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago we did the same timing rules as OCS, and I think we should do the same. And I would argue 45 minutes is great.
I think 45 minutes regardless is fine.
Done. Solved. So 2.5 games out of 12 going to time.
Yeah.
I'll take the under. You start playing pretty fast once you get down under 10 minutes.
I mean, even Paul,
yeah,
he's very good at using the first 30 or 35 minutes, but then
very good. Under what definition of very good, Bastian?
Yeah, he's like, he has no problems going to using up 35 minutes in each game, no matter how lopsided it is. But,
I mean, that's
even if
part
you
of his.
think, all right, he's going to go to time, then he's going to speed it up the last few minutes, and he rarely ever goes to time. Actually to time. So I think even he will not go to time in both of his games. And
I mean, Paul's strategy is to lull you to sleep and then just overwhelm you with the shock of just how fast he's playing with like 5 minutes left. So now I have faith.
Works. He gets good results.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yep. I have faith in you guys not going to time. I know, like the last time, like I know, unless it's like a matchup that we saw in the OCS playoffs, like where Justin Desai and Joker King played. I believe it was like ISB and OA. Like unless we see like a matchup like that, I don't see anybody going to time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, last question of the day. Europe is going to get its revenge. It will not only win, but it will sweep.
12-0 sweep.
I think we can stop after 7-0. I mean, there's no need to humiliate the rest of you guys. I mean, once we're up 7-0, we can stop there.
I want to see humiliation. Come on, pride and revenge for the last 2 years of them just wearing those hoodies and at events and everything and just rubbing in your faces.
Let's see. I mean, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say it's a hit for we're getting our revenge. I'm not gonna say it's a hit for the sweep, but
okay.
I'm gonna say we're definitely.
I mean, we've seen in the OCS how hard it is to go 12-0 against random opponents.
Right.
Now to say we're going to go 12-0 against top tier opponents is pretty insane. There's only, there's probably been, out of however many 4 years of the OCS, there's been, you could count on two hands the number of 12-0s.
I think Paul Myers has a 12-0. I think Bastian, have you gotten a 12-0 in the OCS?
Yeah, at some point I think I have, but
there you
I don't
go.
think I have. I think I got 11-1. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, but still, I mean, yeah, I absolutely agree. It's hard against random opponents already, and it's gonna be. I will totally be content with a 7-5. I'll even be content with a 6-6 and then a tiebreaker win. Just
6-6 would be fun.
Yeah. I don't know. Would have to do it after the NPC then, but no problem.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Definitely, I think we're not really the favorite, but we're gonna bring our game, and let's see.
Okay, Joe.
We're definitely trying, and we're definitely aiming for it.
Joe, are they gonna get their revenge this year?
I mean, I'm biased, obviously. However, when I look at my microphone's falling off my desk here. When I look at the team, it's hard to look at like Justin Desai, Hayes Hunter, these just like incredible players, and go.
And you're too. There's all these incredible players, and there's you.
And right, plus me, and so it's hard to look at this list of players and not feel confident in them. They're phenomenal. I do think it's going to be a challenge for sure. I don't think Europe is going to be any sort of pushover. And I look at their team and I go, hey, that's a good player. Hey, that's a good player. Hey, that's a good player. Like if I popped into a random OCS game against any of them, I would like sit up in my seat and focus because it's not going to be an easy game. So I definitely think we're going to have a good time.
Okay, so that's all we got for Swing and a Miss today. Do got a lore challenge for the both of you, so you're gonna work together on this one. So if one gets it, you both get it.
Basically, Bastian gets it. I'm awful at lore. I don't know the lore of.
Well, I mean, come on. So again, I'll give you the lore, and then
we'll give it a try.
So I'll give you the lore, and then I'll give you one hint, either the set or the type of card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
The lore challenge for you gentlemen is: the three rebels proved to be a deadly combination time and time again.
I don't know. What about these effects
or something?
Yeah, there's like the four of them, right? There's
the count me in, and I'm with you.
Building on top of each other. First, you need one, then two, then three, then four. Yeah. But I only think it isn't like I'm with you too, like the last one, like the fourth one or something.
Yeah, there's like count me in, I'm with you too.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to know the set or the type? You know what?
I don't know. I don't know if it's what we think it is, then it is an effect. I don't even know what set they're in. Is it?
They're in Endor.
Endor.
Well, I know one of them's in Death Star too.
Are they? Sure. What set is it?
Tatooine.
Oh, cool. Okay. So that's more. Oh, what's that? Is it Lucky Shot? Or no. What's the one where the three people? It's like the MBO helper or something. Like the three people, they're walking down from the medal ceremony or something.
Medal ceremony.
Yeah, read it again, Dan.
The three rebels proved to be a deadly combination time and time again.
What's that one where they're like?
Oh no! I'm sorry. I'm completely sorry. It's special edition.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be Heroes of Jawin. Isn't that like?
Yeah.
Because you said something about medal.
That might have been the card I was picturing anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Great.
That's our pick.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I completely messed up. I thought it was like, okay, so originally I was
No,
gonna
no problem.
have Great Shot
Yeah.
Kid. You were thinking of Great Shot Kid as
I
the
was.
NBO helper, but
And yeah, I was like, Tatooine, it's got to be an MBO helper, but the card I was picturing was the Heroes of
Heroes of
Yavin
Yavin.
card.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. Good work, Bastian.
Woohoo!
Well, so I mean, you guys like, oh, we're
Guest
bad at
of
lore.
the year, nailed down, right there.
Yeah, we were sandbagging.
We're gonna have that in a couple of weeks. I know next week we're gonna actually introduce like all the guests of the year. You're both gonna be on it, obviously. So we'll have the public vote on it. So go ahead and boost yourselves up. I mean, right now you're both on the guest, so I'm actually gonna have you both combined. Like you guys are gonna be like linked together.
It's hard to bet against the last 4 world champions.
I don't know. There's some pretty good guests. I mean, Chris
No,
Kelly
there's a
won.
lot of-
Chris
a lot
Kelly
of
won
good
it
guests.
last year. So, okay, gentlemen. I think that's all I got for you today. So again, January 5th, we're gonna pull up the matches and everything. So make sure everybody stay tuned for that. I'm excited to see this. Like this is a great time. I love doing commentary for this because it's so many high skilled players playing in it. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm excited to do the pools too to see who's playing who. Like,
Yeah,
this is gonna be
early
fun.
January.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
So
Yep.
okay, well again, thank you gentlemen for joining me today. Again, that's all I've got. So we'll go back to the live show here in a second. Again, I want to thank Joe and Bastian for coming on. Both of you, if I don't talk to you before the Outrider Cup, both good luck, have fun, no reverts, and then happy holidays as well.
Cool. Thanks, Dan.
Take care.
Okay, thank you. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks again for watching that. Thanks to Joe and Bastian for coming on. They showed up earlier today to do that interview, so they took about 48 minutes to do that interview. So again, thanks to both of them. So if you missed the teams were announced. Just going to go over those really quick. For Team USA, you got Joe Olsen, Justin Desai, Matthew Harrison Trainer, Hayes Hunter, Paul Myers, and Jared Napolitano. And then for Team Europe, you have Bastian Winkelhaus, Justin Branch, Zimowit. I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name. Sorry, Zimowit. Kieran, Miguel, and Timo Dussel. So both teams are set, ready to go. Again, they're not going to be doing anything until January 5th when we do the live announcement. I actually have a special prize or a special thing to give out to both teams, so I'm excited for them to check it out. I got the okay from Jared, so we're going to go with it. Also, right now, again, there's a lot going on in the PC world. So we have the signups for the 6th annual Batmouse Gem PC. Right now, we have 86 people signed up for it. If you haven't signed up, please go ahead and do so. Friday is the last day to sign up for this. There are Player of the Year points available for this. A lot of big name people have been signing up for this. I know Bastian signed up, Justin Desai, Joe Olsen. You can see it like right even here. Like, just look at the players in this little quadrant. Paul Myers, Gavin, Tom Hayde, Matt Scott, Justin Desai, Bastian, Steve Baroni. Steve Baroni is back and playing Star Wars. Like, I can't get enough. Like, this is going to be a fun event. A lot of good name players. A lot of good prizes are going to be given out. I believe Jared said that he's going to be giving out some of the cool boxes that they showed off Monday. So, again, sign up for this. It's free to play. Also going on is we got signups are live for the MPC in January. We're going to be doing the seeding and the bracket reveal on January 5th as well. So that's going to be a huge episode. Great way to start off the year. We're going to be doing the pairings for the Outrider Cup and showing the pairings for the MPC as well. MPC is always a fun event. Make sure that you get signed up for that if you want to go. Again, we talked about the Outrider Cup. It's going to be starting here on January 5th. And then, all the rules are set. Again, with Jared now as the captain's pick, he will not be running it. So I guess that falls to me. Yay. But make sure you stay tuned to that. We're going to have a lot of good games being played. I'm excited for it. The Jawa Cup is currently live with its 4th round. Table 1 is Bill Kafer and Matt Wadden. I don't know how that happened, but a lot of good games being played. So make sure you stay tuned to the PC so if we can get some live coverage of that. As the rounds as we have the rounds continue and as we get into the later rounds, we're going to have more live coverage on Twitch. And then if you weren't watching on Monday, let's just go over Jared, Scott, and Chris Kelly all announced some of their advocate winners. Chris Hall, Devin Hubner, Stephen Fulner, Justin Miyashiro, James Martin, Some Jerk, Christian Kudinson, all were the Advocate Award winners, and then the John Anderson Volunteer of the Year Award went to Adam Fletcher. They also revealed some images of the new deck boxes that we were talking about. People were talking about these. These things are amazing. I have one of them. They gave them out at Worlds. So make sure you guys look at this. Like, they are able to hold enough card, like you get the 60 cards for your deck, all your sleeves, everything double sleeved. So these things are really, really cool. I love them. Jared gave out some ways of actually getting some of the deck boxes, and then there were some spoilers that were announced. You saw that the family is strong in my family. It's a new epic event. You essentially recreating the Skywalker saga. You can either play as... You start with a Jedi, Anakin, or Obi-Wan, and you also get Yoda. So you can go with Anakin, Luke, or Rey, and then you get your various Jedi. You always get Yoda, and then you have certain cards that are assigned to them, like with the Slave Quarters goes with Anakin. The Endor, Anakin's Funeral Pyre goes with Luke. And then the Training Course goes with Rey. So... a lot of cool stuff coming up with set 17. Speaking of which, before we turn it over to our new show here, I was given the opportunity by Chris Kelly to announce some spoilers, so here they are. These aren't really going to be necessarily spoilers, but they are going to be some erratas. The design and the competitive balance team work together to tweak some cards, make them a little bit better. The first one is Vader's Anger. So it's going to be the same Destiny. It's received its second errata already. Vader follows using land speed for free. An opponent's character just moved away from the same site. So that replaces the portion of it that your opponent cannot cancel your lightsaber, weapon, or choke Destiny. So now they can cancel the weapon or the choke. If Vader alone in battle, your total battle Destiny is +1 for each character in the battle. That stays the same. And then also, or if Vader's in battle, you can cancel Dodge, It's a Trap, or Obi-Wan's Journal. So now you can get rid of some of those pesky cards that you're seeing play, especially like Obi-Wan's Journal gaining a lot of play at Worlds. So this is going to now be a new answer for that. And then our second errata was Our Only Hope. It still will relocate Prophecy of the Force. And then if, like my father before me on table, you can pull Yoda's Hut or a Death Star 2 site. So as long as, like my father before me, which sees play in Hitco, is on the table, you can do the same thing where you pull the Hut or the Death Star 2 site. So instead of just having it restricted to he is the chosen one, now as long as the effect's on the table, you can pull the Hut. So I think those are going. That card is specifically designed to work with the Skywalker trilogy, or the Skywalker saga card that we just spoiled on Monday. So again, make sure you look out for more spoilers as the spoiler season continues. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Star Wars CCG land, and I'm excited for all of it. Like I said, the Jawa Cup's going on, the Outrider Cup's around the corner. The Again PC signups, they end on Friday, so that means next Wednesday, Batmouse will join me to announce the bracket live on air. Also, next Wednesday, I'm going to announce all of the guests that have been on Holotheatre. So what we're going to do is like we did last year, where you are going to go on. I'm going to have a link available for everyone. And then I would love to see everybody participate, vote for their favorite guest of the year. And on the 29th of this month, we will have our holiday or our end of the year recap episode. I'm hoping to get a bunch of people involved on the show. Anybody who has hosted, anybody who has co-hosted. And I want Chris Kelly on. He's been the guest of the year. He was the guest of the year last year, so I want him to announce it. I want him to announce this year's guest of the year. So okay. So yeah, that's all I have for tonight. Make sure you stay tuned for the premiere episode of 0-2 with Corn and Batmouse. It is I don't know what the show's going to be about. I'm excited. I'm going to be tuning in, so make sure you tune in for that. Until next Wednesday, as always, everybody have a good weekend, and I will see you guys then. Yeah, take care, and may the force be with you.